First, going to kind of give you a reaction, talk about your reaction to this morning's mass shooting in Sacramento.
Pain, sadness, anguish, heart just going out to and aching for the families of those who we lost, 6 Californians whose lives were cut short and will never be able to pursue or realize their dreams. Their families changed forever now, going through something no one should ever have to go through. And also frustration and anger about the fact that an incident like this is happening yet again. And in that in the United States of America, this gun epidemic is unique to us in the whole world. And it's America's unique disease. And frustration and anger about the fact that the federal government hasn't done more to keep communities throughout the nation safer from gun violence, and that neighboring states have failed to do, in my view, what is necessary to address this challenge. And also a recommitment, reaffirmation of to and of the work that California has done. That has led California to having some of the strongest gun safety laws and policies and initiatives in the nation, and also one of the lowest firearm mortality rates in the nation. Those two things go hand in hand. And we are doing an important work and taking important steps to keep our communities safe, whether it be on the prevention front end with some very strong red flag laws like gun violence restraining orders, which identify those who are a risk of harm to themselves or others, and having their guns removed through a court procedure that ensures due process, or programs like Ceasefire or Peacekeepers, which do deep interventions into communities and help cut homicide rates down by half in places like Stockton. Programs like the one that we do at the California Department of Justice, our unique in the nation armed prohibited person system program, which identifies individuals who purchased a gun legally at one point in their life, but subsequently became prohibited for various reasons, whether it be a restraining order, a criminal conviction, or mental illness, which prohibits them. And then our dedicated, committed, and courageous special agents in the Department of Justice knock on doors, not knowing what's behind that door, of those individuals with prohibited weapons, and remove them from their possession to keep our communities safe. We're also defending our common sense gun laws in court, like our large capacity magazine ban, like our assault weapons ban, and pushing for new laws that can make our communities safer, like AB 1594, which I'm sponsoring. Assemblymember Phil Ting is authoring, which requires gun manufacturers and distributors to use reasonable controls and procedures to prevent guns from getting into the hands of traffickers or straw purchasers or prohibited persons or individuals with indications that they will hurt themselves or hurt others. So there, and we're also taking on ghost guns, suing ghost gun manufacturers. We have a current pending suit against 3 ghost gun manufacturers, Glock Store, MDX, Blackhawk, to address one of the more recent challenges, one of the more recent iterations of the challenge of gun violence in California and to the nation, where any individual with a credit card and internet connection can purchase the component parts of a gun and build their own gun without a background check, without a waiting period, without a serial number. And we have seen about 1/3 of the guns that have been seized in California over the last year have been ghost guns. So we need to recommit to that work, knowing that it makes a difference. It saves lives. It prevents gun violence, potentially mass shootings, and that we must do even more. Because as we know, from the tragedy that struck us in the wee hours of the morning here, right here in Sacramento, we are not immune to gun violence in California either. So we need to continue this important work, and we can never acknowledge that this is normal. This is far from normal. It is unacceptable. Enough is enough, and we need to end the scourge of gun violence that we are facing in the United States of America, and California is going to continue to lead in the space.
And we've seen anecdotal, increase in violence in some of our communities just in recent months. First, we had multiple shot in Oregon at a church there, and then this mass shooting, even neighboring cities like Stockton, where gun violence has left more than a dozen people dead so far this year. Why do you think these types of brazen events and shootings involving multiple victims keep happening?
There's I think a multiplicity of reasons for it, and I'll also add that in the early morning hours of earlier today, there was a mass shooting at a concert in Dallas. Not far from the time that we had the tragic mass shooting in Sacramento. So throughout this year, this calendar year, there have been as many mass shootings nationwide as there have been calendar days in this year. So it happens so often, and I believe a large part of it is because of the lack of other states and the federal government taking the necessary steps to common sense steps that are proven by evidence and data and factual proof to make a difference, and not taking those steps, whether it be assault weapon bans or red flag laws. If many more states and the federal government did what California has done, we would prevent more mass shootings, more unnecessary gun violence and gun deaths. And there needs to be more action in more places. And California has led, and we will continue to, and we will continue to do more to address the challenge in whatever form it takes.
And a little bit to what you spoke there, the question a lot of people are asking today, how do we make sure this doesn't happen again?
For this specific tragedy, the investigation is ongoing. And so as we learn more about the root causes, and we'll also learn more about how to address those causes and prevent a similar tragedy from happening in the future. And as we await the results of the investigation, it's important to double down on and build upon the things that we know do work. Again, ceasefire, gun violence restraining orders, red flag laws, the armed prohibited persons system, which has done incredible work over the last year with 30% more contacts with individuals, 50% more seizures of guns than the year before. We need to defend our common sense gun laws, make sure that they continue to apply in California as some seek to challenge them and undermine them. And we need to think about other approaches and policies that will save lives. For example, ghost guns were not really on the radar as a major threat over 5 years ago. Today, about 30% of guns seized in California are ghost guns. And so the challenge, there are iterations to it. It evolves, it changes, and we need to be responsive to whatever those changes may be. So it's important always to follow facts, evidence, data as we identify solutions, always promote and uplift public safety as priority number one for our neighborhoods, for our communities, for the people of California. It is foundational. It is fundamental. As the California Attorney General, I and my Department of Justice are going to do everything in our power to make sure our communities are safe. So we will rise to the challenge, whatever that may be. And part of that is learning from what happened in the past to ensure that it never happens again, and recommitting to and doubling down on policies, practices, initiatives that we know work.
And I understand this is SACPD's investigation, but what kind of assistance have you offered or to SACPD, and what's your role, what's your agency's role in this situation?
Our office reached out to the Sacramento police chief specifically to offer assistance, partnership, collaboration in any form that is needed. And so we stand ready, willing, and able to support Sacramento Police Department as they confront and address this horrific tragedy that occurred in their jurisdiction. And we are also working with other law enforcement to share information and work together. This is a time when law enforcement can and must come together to provide all necessary resources, sharing of information, collaboration that is necessary. So we reached out immediately, and we stand by ready to help in any way possible.
One of my last questions, what's your message to California residents who are scared of going out today, scared of being involved in violence?
My message is, in California, we are taking necessary steps, important steps, effective steps to keep our community safe. And I feel your pain, your sadness, your anxiety, and know that the California Attorney General is working overtime, has already been working on this, and will continue to address all threats to our community members in all forms and certainly when it comes to gun violence, which has been fueling the almost 100%, just shy of the rise in violent crime in some areas of the city. And so we will, you have an attorney general that is absolutely committed and undeterred in addressing gun violence, and will continue to do that work to make sure that our communities are safe, our neighborhoods are safe for all Californians.